Good afternoon and welcome to today's seminar. I'm Jim Petruzzi and today we're going to be covering how to change an unwanted or negative behavioural pattern with the NLP technique, the new behaviour generator. So whether you're a student of NLP or you're an experienced practitioner or just a passive interest in how to change behaviours, or you're just doing it for your own self-development, or you just think, well, passively I might be interested in what all this is all about, then you've come to the right place. So what we're going to look at today is how you can change a negative behaviour in a matter of moments using the NLP technique, the new behaviour generator. So how long does it take to change a behaviour? How long should it take to have behavioural change? Well, everyone's got different sorts of opinions in terms of how long it should take and how to change behaviours. Now, in my experience of working with people with unwanted behaviours, I've worked with people with, biting nails, have eating compulsions, being nervous in presentations, for interviews, just motivating themselves going to the gym. So many things. The list aren't exhaustive, but in my experience of working with people for many years and helping to change behaviours, one of the key things is to get them to realise that a behaviour can change almost in an instant. There's this misconception that behaviours take a long time to change. And for many years, the people used to think that behaviours would, and still do now for that matter, behaviour takes a long time to change. Well, the good news is it doesn't take a long time to change behaviour. So you're probably thinking now, at the moment, you may have tried to change your own behaviours, and you're probably thinking at the moment, well, I've tried to change behaviours. I've done my best to change certain behaviours, but I've had no luck, no joy. I find it challenging. You may have read something in a book or in a different sort of therapy. It takes a long time to change behaviour. Now think about this for one moment. If you're sitting in a plane, one moment of turbulence, and you could end up with a fear of flying. Alternatively, one bad experience in any situation, be it an interview, a presentation, or maybe as a child growing up, you put your hand on the hot stove. So in a moment, we can build associations to different situations. Now think about this for one moment. Our thoughts impact our feelings, and our feelings impact our behaviour. Now think about it. What we think about and what goes through our mind, think what's going through your mind at the moment, and how that impacts our feelings and our behaviour. Now, for example, you might have a job interview next week on Wednesday. You go along, you prepare, you make every effort to get the job. You go there for the interview. Having gone for the interview, what happens is they tell you, Friday whether you've got the job or not. At that point there, you feel confident, you prepared really well. You think, yeah, I got this job for sure. Your thoughts at that moment in time are great. You got on the person doing the interview really well. Between that Wednesday and Friday, you kind of start thinking, a little bit of doubt might come into your mind. You speak to one or two people, you realise a lot of people have gone for the same job you've gone for. Then Friday comes along, you wait for that phone call, that email to come across, and it doesn't arrive. By Friday, 5 o'clock, the close of play, you've still got no email. You've still got no call, and you're wondering whether you got the job or not. You're not sure. You might feel a bit nervous or apprehensive. So at that point there, all things are going through your mind. Now, your feelings could be mixed emotions. You might be thinking, well, that's the third time I've gone for a job interview in a month and I'm not getting anywhere. If I don't get this job, I can't pay the bills, I can't pay the mortgage, I can't take the family on holiday. So all sorts of emotions and scenarios go through your mind. Your feelings will impact your behaviour. So over the course of the weekend, you might have a great weekend plan, you might have one of your child's birthday, you might have plans to go abroad for the weekend or go for a meal with friends, but you're stewing on whether you've got the job or not, and you're wondering what to do. And you're stressing out, you're getting frustrated. There's a link between what we think, how we feel, and our behaviour. Now, you might be thinking the weekend goes by, Monday comes along, and you decide to call to find out if you've got the job or not. You might have it, you might not. But all in all, there's a potential opportunity you might have ruined any chance of having a good weekend, because what's going through your mind has impacted your feelings and behaviour. So all these things are interlinked, and our mind and body is linked. Now think about it. When you go back to when you were very young at school, you got an exam, okay, and before the exam you might need to go to the toilet. Alternatively, think about what happens when you're embarrassed and your cheeks might go all flush. Or when you get nervous, your heartbeat goes really quickly, your stomach might churn. So there is a mind and body link. Or your legs might feel heavy before a sporting event. The mind and body are linked together. And if there's any questions about that, as I mentioned just then, think about how in certain situations one can affect the other and vice versa. But how do we change these negative behaviours? How do we change them? We can go into all details about where these behaviours comes from. Is it nature? Is it nurture? I'd like to think it's a combination of both, potentially, but yeah, anybody's guess. And I think what's really important is rather than get too hung up about where the behaviour come from and analyse it and go back in the past and look for these deep and whatever meanings, let's move forward and find the solution. If what you're doing isn't working, whether it's screaming at the kids when you don't want to, or biting your nails, or being nervous in presentations, or in interviews, whatever it is that you want to change, can change. Or you want to find motivation to go to the gym, it is possible to change by doing this technique we're going to cover shortly. It's a very powerful process. There are many other ways to change behaviour. Yes, of course there is. Yeah, we're going to touch on a new behaviour generator today. The key to this technique, sometimes, with a lot of people, it's that simple. For some people, sometimes they always look for the most complex answer. So whether you want to sort of carry on seeing a psychiatrist for the next 10, 15, 20 years to analyse why you do what you do, it's entirely up to you. I like to think that if we want to change something, it doesn't serve us no more, we can go forward. The analogy I use for the techniques we're going to cover, or the technique we're going to cover today, it's a bit like a sat-nav. How many people know how sat-nav works out there? Do you know how sat-nav works? You might not know how it works. Yet generally speaking, the most people on the street don't really know how sat-nav works, and it doesn't really matter. All you need to know is how to program the sat-nav. And think of your mind as being like a sat-nav. This wealth of information. Your mind being like a sat-nav. What's important for a sat-nav is being able to program the sat-nav, knowing where you are, where you want to be, or where you want to go, and obviously the postcode and the address. And I use the same principle with these techniques. The key is think about where are you, where do you want to be, and how are you going to get there. And the technique is like the postcode and the sat-nav. Without the postcode or the address, the sat-nav is no good to you. So you need to have a postcode or address. And you know where you are and where you want to go. There's some key elements to using a sat-nav. And the same applies for the brain. We need to know where we are, where we want to be, and we need to have a technique to get us there. And that's the analogy I use with these techniques. So rather than get too hung up on what the issue is, what the problem is, why it's there, where it's come from, let's move forward and take control of our mind. Okay, the most powerful resource that we have that we could ever imagine, and neurologically our mind isn't too different to anybody else anyway. So if one person can do something, so can somebody else. And you've got to think about it this way, to pick up your behaviour in the first place, it's almost like a stroke of genius anyway, to be able to acquire any level of new behaviour anyway. And think about it, you know, throughout life, we go through life and our motivation sometimes goes, we pick up these negative behaviours, we lose confidence, and all these things happen. Think of a baby. Think of the two miracles in life. The two miracles in life, a baby learns to walk and to talk. It's incredible, isn't it, when you think about it? And how's the baby learn to walk and talk? Well, it models the people around it, unconscious assimilation. It looks at people. If you've got a baby yourself, or you had children yourself, you've got children, you'll note that when your child is a baby now, it mimics what you say until it gets the word out. Or it walks, and what does the baby do when it walks? It gets up, it falls down, and it walks. It doesn't give up. It's like all things and all new changes that we want to make. The key is not giving up. Keep going forward. If you're a parent, or you're a parent, you wouldn't tell your baby to stop, give up. Don't try and walk anymore, because it falls over once or twice. You wouldn't do that as a parent. Now, why do we do that to ourselves? We're often our own worst enemy. I always say the self-talk we have for ourselves, if we said that to any of our friends, we'd have no friends left. So the key is taking control of our conscious mind. And think about the confidence that the baby has. So when we're born, we've got all this confidence. What does a baby do when it cries? What does a baby do when it's hungry? It cries. A baby doesn't care who it wakes up or what it does, or that you're busy, that you've got a report, or you need some sleep, you've got to get up early in the morning. If it's hungry, it will cry and it will let you know. Now you think about it, as we go on in life, we learn these new behaviours. So you might be, you know, at a friend's house and you might be thirsty. Would you ask your friend to pour you a drink? Well, you might not. If you're in the surroundings that you're unfamiliar with, you might be reserved to ask them to pour you a drink if you're thirsty. If a baby's thirsty, it will cry and let you know. So throughout life, we learn some of these behavioural patterns. We learn from the people around us, and you know, they become a part of us, and what we learn, we do as well. Now, the travesty is that some people will carry on doing certain things that don't work for them no more. Why would you carry on doing something that's not serving you no more? Why would you sabotage your success? Why would you do certain behaviours that you don't want to do no more? Think about it. Ever screamed at your kids? Hey, come on, you're only human, we've all been there before. Now, you might have screamed at them for good reason for that now. Yet in saying that, I'm sure we've all done it sometimes, thinking, well, actually, you know what? You know, we shouldn't have done it. But we do it anyway. And then, till the next time, you do it again, and do it again. So part of that is being able to control your mind at a certain level where we can stay focused and make changes. So next time around, we do something different. Now in my experience, I mentioned earlier, what people who, they're biting their nails, being nervous doing presentations, self-harm, being nervous going to interviews, struggling for motivation to go to the gym, struggling with eating. I've used this process exhaustively with some fantastic results to help people to stop smoking, change behavioural patterns that don't work for them no more, put an end to any behaviour that you want to move forward with, which is key. Now, there is a fine line, I always say, between competence and confidence. Okay, someone might come along to you and you're working as a practitioner and they might say to you, I want to deliver a presentation on neuroscience. If they've got no background on neuroscience, then it's obviously highly unlikely all the confidence is what's going to work for them. So confidence, competence are two things that we shouldn't confuse with. If you ask me to do brain surgery tomorrow, would I do it? No, I wouldn't do it. Not that I'm not confident, I'm just not confident in that area. I'm not trained as a brain surgeon. So what I'm saying is there's a fine line between the two. And I guess there is a fine line really, because at what point do you become confident to do what you do? And I think that with confidence, and where confidence is concerned, is focusing on what you do really, really well. Too often we look at other people and see what they do well and measure up ourselves against them. I'm a big believer in running your own race. Start from ground zero and run your own race and go as far as you can in your own time and your own pace. But focus on what you do well as well. There are many things that you do really, really well and take for granted, whatever it might be. And sometimes we hold ourselves up in awe and look at other people who are doing well and we think, I wish we could do that, I wish I could do this, I wish we could do whatever, without thinking about the things that you can do really well as well. So let's sometimes focus on what you do well, and that's how sometimes we can build confidence. Success breeds success. So whatever it is, if you're doing a presentation and you're not very confident doing the presentation over 2 hours, think, well actually I can start from the very beginning. Choose a component of the presentation you're confident with and build from there. But the moral of the story is, let's not confuse confidence with confidence, because sometimes if we're overconfident, then we can set ourselves up to fail really. And I guess it's up to you to measure what level you think you should and shouldn't be. Now then, why do people have these behaviours? Why do they struggle to change? Well, I have my own theory on all this, but let's look forward and move forward and have a look at the situation and what puts people under pressure. Because pressure sometimes can inhibit people from doing presentations, going for interviews. I'm a big believer in the outcome and process. The technique we're going to cover focuses on the actual process. When I say outcome and process, what I mean by outcome, for example, you've got a job interview and your outcome is to get the job. Now, by getting the job,